I recently did a review on the Browning High Power as a surplus pistol, but with the ones that are coming in now from Century Arms, the price is going to be down for a little while, like they always are, and then when those supplies dry up, these will start to meet the true value. It's just supply and demand, and really, I think now is the time, if you're looking for one. I've seen a number of these pistols on the on Gunbroker, on some other different companies. You can just search and find out, where you can find these. Typically, if you're looking for surplus pistols, a lot of times Gunbroker, they'll start putting them on there, and these dealers will to get these out into the market. If you're looking for a good Browning High Power, they're difficult to find. They're in high demand, so a lot of times these are back ordered on most of your sites. In fact, when I was searching for a replacement for the one that was stolen that I had taken at my break-in a couple of years ago, it was very difficult to find a good commercial Browning High Power. And really, the Surrogate was the surplus, and I was very happy with it until Chris came through with this one. Now to get started, I went ahead and had the action open. We're going to close it. It is in safe mode, so. Now here are the two pistols side by side. Everything interchanges. I mean, they're the exact same gun. There are some upgrades to the practical, and of course with the chrome-plated frame. But if you get a regular commercial Browning High Power, of course it's blue. And the finish is always impeccable on the Brownings. Now this one has a little bit of wear on it, but that just comes from shooting. And I'm a shooter, and the guy that had this before me obviously was the same. Holster wear, things like that. But here, of course, with the surplus, this was really who knows where. In fact, I believe these were Israeli. And so there was a lot of use with these, but still, everything is very tight. Typically the finishes are not that good. And this one is actually a pretty decent finish. There's some really kind of unusual, I don't know, just the way it looks like it was setting against something or something got on it. But here's the thing. Both pistols are Browning High Powers. This one, yes, is finished very well. The commercial finish is better. The military finish, obviously, because it is hard use. These are made to sell under a government contract. And so they want them to be as reasonable as possible. So we have the spur hammer, and then we have the commander style hammer on the commercial. Not all commercials have the commander hammer. This also has ambidextrous safety, and it is extended a little bit. One of the things that the practical has, though, that really makes this nice too, is this grip is a really thin G10 grip. This does not normally come on the commercial models. They come usually either with wood or with a rubberized plastic grip that is really nice, but more similar to this plastic grip that's on this military surplus. You can see here where the lanyard loop was, and of course it's not on the commercial model. As far as sights go, the rear sights are pretty much identical. The front sight's the big difference. And if you'll look, the practical has kind of a ramp, and the surplus has more of just a little blade on the front. But I was actually getting better accuracy with the surplus pistol because I was able to see that sight a little better. It was more 3-dot than just filling up in the sight picture. But still, these are both very accurate pistols. Okay, we're going to be shooting American Eagle, 115 grain full metal jackets, compliments of Federal Premium. Good stuff. Here we had the surplus Browning, here we had the commercial. I like the sight a little bit better on the commercial because it's smaller. But still very acceptable groups using American Eagle 115 grain full metal jacket, 9mm. Easy to see targets. I was taking this out to the range the other week and was shooting at 50 yards, hitting steel with ease. Yeah, I know Hickok does it every week, but I never claim to be Hickok. Finish on the practical is made to withstand the elements. I mean, it's really a bare basic model. but with the hard chrome and then the baked on finish here, but it's very beautiful, and the colors really connect. A lot of times you'll see these with the Pachmayr grips, with the finger grooves, which is rubberized, and it really enlarges the grip. I personally like the thinner grip. It's a little bit better for my hand. But it does have, of course, the small beaver tail, and everything else, guys, I'm just telling you, they're pretty much just the same. And if you take them out to the range, you know, you're going to get the same amount of reliability. Most of these that I've seen have been very reliable. The accuracy on these has been very good. These are not like the old 1911s that were in the U.S. military that were just shot to death, that were rattle traps. Most of these are pretty tight. The finish is, or the barrel lockup, the trigger. Of course, this one has the magazine disconnect. This one we took out, so this one does not have it. The great thing about these old pistols, especially with the surplus, is you're paying about $400 to $450 according to the condition. Some of these can go up. If you really find one that's not imported, you know, they can be as high as the commercial models, especially the Nazi Germany captures and things like that that have the German proof marks on them. But as far as just a shootable pistol, both of them are the same. You're going to pay between $800, $900 for a basic commercial. For a practical like this, these are very difficult to find in the first place. In fact, I was really having a hard time. I was looking at, you know, $1,000, $1,200 because they're just that scarce. And so, you know, that is something to consider. You can actually get two of these compared to one of your commercial. Now, I understand the appeal of having a new gun, having something, especially a Browning, high power. I mean, they're classics. They're very well made. They look really nice, and it really is nice in a collection. But if you're wanting just to have a Browning high power experience, but you don't have the commercial budget of, you know, $900, finding a small commercial or finding a small surplus Browning high power right now is just a great time to get them. Guys, these are going to dry. They're coming in batches, so they're going to dry up, and when they do, the price is going to continue to creep up. I see these going up to $600, $700 even in the surplus. Now, the finish definitely will dictate a lot of that. One of the things about this pistol, though, let's say I pay, you know, $450 for it, and then I take and I get a new Cerakote finish on it, and that costs me $75 to $100, whatever it is. You know, then, you know, I'm still, you know, $250 under what the commercial is. Now, I'm not trying to talk you into getting a surplus pistol, but for a lot of the guys that are kind of eyeing the surplus, but they're kind of like, I don't know, I don't know what it's going to be. You know, I can't tell you that they're all going to be great, but the ones that I have been exceptional, and of course the commercials have been just beautiful. So, you know, it really has a lot to do with your style, your budget, and what you're looking for. But if you're really wanting a Browning high power and you can't afford a Browning commercial $900 to $1,000 pistol, finding a good surplus Browning high power is a great option. Now, let's say we have a little issue here and there. The parts for these are plentiful, and there's a lot of different companies actually that make aftermarket parts. Cylinder and Slide is one of the top. And in fact, what we're going to do with our next project, we're going to take this Browning high power and we're going to put a lot of upgrades on it, and we're going to refinish it, and we're going to make it look really exceptional. And it'll still be for less money than your commercial. One thing I do like too about these pistols, the Brownings in general, is the magazine availability with aftermarket. These are the Met-Gar mags, and they're great mags. They make a lot of the mags for most companies. I mean, the magazine is a critical part of reliability. And so these companies realize that, and they get somebody that really knows what they're doing to make their magazines. And Met-Gar is the company. So I definitely highly recommend Met-Gar mags over some of the others. There are definitely surplus mags out there like this one. This is an old Browning high power surplus mag. It even has the Parkerized finish on it. And these used to be really reasonable, but they're drying up and they're hard to find. And the price is reflecting that as well. But if you're looking for different grips, if you're looking for, you know, magazine extensions, if, you know, whatever, commander hammer, different trigger, different sights, you're going to be able to do all of that on the surplus pistol. One of the things I want to take a look at is comparing the trigger pull. And we're going to look to make sure it's unloaded. And go ahead and insert the magazine because of the disconnect on the surplus pistol. On the commercial model, it has some take up right here. and then a nice crisp single action snap. On the surplus model, it has a little bit more creep. Now, one of the things is this has the magazine disconnect removed, so that actually makes a better trigger pull. But we have that little bit of creep. Still a pretty decent snap, but I know that once we take that magazine disconnect out, it's going to be better. But there are a ton of different kits out there too to improve your trigger pull, even past just removing the magazine disconnect. We're going to remove the magazines though, and I want you to see how slick this pistol is. I mean, it is so smooth. It's just unbelievably smooth. With the surplus, it's smooth too. It's not quite as smooth as the commercial, but really it takes very little effort to bring that slide back. Man, that is just sweet right there. I think the finish on here is kind of a Teflon impregnated finish, and that actually helps with the chrome here. But even your standard Browning high powers are nice, but that is exceptionally nice. That still glides really nice and smooth. One thing about surplus firearms in general, and especially on this particular Browning high power, is where the importer put the import marks. And as you can see, they're right here on the slide. And you know, it just really detracts. I really wish they'd put them somewhere else. It may have been the way the machine that they had, this was the place they had to put it. But to me, that's one of the only things about these pistols that really I don't like. You know, they're definitely, you can refinish them, you can add different parts to them and everything else. But you know, that is there. But this is the thing, this gun is a shooter. It's something I want to take out to the range. And once I get this refinished, it's not going to matter anyway. It's going to look really nice, and it's going to serve me well for a long time. But when I want to dress up, I'm definitely going to pull out the practical. What I love is I get in the comments a lot of times, well, these scare tactics won't make me buy a Browning or make me buy a surplus pistol. You know, guys, I don't care if you buy one or not. I mean, it really doesn't mean anything to me. It just means they're more out there. But I'm just telling you as far as some advice. And this is a great time to grab a Browning high power, because once these get gone, they're gone, unless a little cachet pops up here and there. But right now, I think there's a number of them coming in, so again, great time. But whether you buy either one, these are both great pistols, and the Browning high power is just a legendary firearm, used all through World War II with the British and with the German forces and a lot of others, and still being used today. So the Browning high power, whether you go with the commercial model or the surplus, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And again, if you say suits, you give everything a thumbs up. How can you not give a thumbs up to a Browning high power?